Our raspberries are starting to ripen up and they are looking awesome, but I've been noticing that the birds have been coming and eating them. I'm going to show you how we have increased our raspberry yield by 9 times. Not 9%, not 90%, ninefold with this simple device. This is bird netting, and it literally has increased our yield by 9-fold. Before we had the bird netting on, of course I measure and weigh everything, and we did our harvest, and then we put the bird netting up because I noticed a lot of birds eating the raspberries, a lot of bird-pecked raspberries. We put the netting on. My wife actually stitched 2 pieces of netting together, and now it covers the entire raspberry section. But after we did that, our yield increased 9-fold. That means the birds were eating 9 out of 10 raspberries. That's incredible. That's a huge loss. I love the birds. It's awesome to have them here, but you know, I don't do all this work to feed the birds. The Lord will provide for the birds. I need to provide for my family. So we're putting up this bird netting, and I've built this PVC rack so that we can actually work inside while the netting is up. So there's plenty of room to work down this aisle, work the raspberries here, work down this aisle, and then this all used to be raspberries. My wife pulled it out and we put in blackberries. So this will drape over the entire outside perimeter, and I weigh it down with this 1/2-inch conduit, electrical conduit, and that pretty much takes care of keeping the birds out. So a one-time purchase of bird netting has yielded us years and years and years, over a decade worth of increased yield. I've made this structure out of 1.5-inch PVC. It has been up here for 6 or 7 years now, and it's doing great. It was the least expensive way for me to go, and I had scrap PVC left over from building my greenhouse over here, so I was able to use a lot of it and save money. Now, because we've been hitting 100-degree triple-digit temperatures here, on top of the bird netting, not on the sides, but just above the plants, we will be putting this 40% shade cloth. And my wife's concerned that the raspberries will shrivel up due to the heat. So this will help reduce the heat substantially and hopefully give us better, plumper, juicier raspberries. This is a 20 by 48 foot shade cloth. And this was the most affordable shade cloth that I found. And what I really like about it is that it is grommeted all the way around and it has this seam here so it doesn't tear. Now, it costs less to get a shade cloth without the seam on it and so forth, but then you need to use these clamps, and they do tear up the fabric. I've used this here for over a decade also. So if you can, I'd recommend getting it with the seam all the way around. My wife Sue and I have now gathered up the netting, and we're going to lay it across and see if we can just walk it all the way from one end to the other. So we have just draped it over the top and we're walking it across. We have the bird netting completely draped over the entire structure. It took us about 5 minutes, and this is the only time we'll ever have to do this because I'm doing something different this year that'll make this a permanent installation. On the second row in from the edge, in case this breaks through, so right here instead of right here, I'm actually weaving this 1/2-inch conduit into the netting. And so there's not enough room for birds to get inside, and when we're done, we can simply just throw this all up on the top, gather it together, and store it up on top. So next year, all we have to do is slide it off the sides and it'll be ready to go. And there you have the finished project. So we've got the bird netting weighed down by the 1/2-inch electrical conduit. Just threaded it through. I had some extra length down here, so I just try to thread it so that it's kind of taut here, so I don't have a bunch of loose netting floating around. I've got the 40% shade cloth zip tied so it stays down. We get a lot of wind here. So what I'm trying to protect are these gorgeous raspberries. Hopefully you can see those in there. I don't know how I missed that when I was snacking this morning. Anyway, so this should keep it nice and cool. 100-degree triple-digit temperatures we're having here. So this will keep everything cool so the raspberries won't dry out and keep the birds out from eating our raspberries. Again, a 9-fold, 9x increase in yield by keeping the birds out of the raspberries. So if you want to really reap your harvest your efforts, you've got to be able to keep the competition under control, which is the 6th law of Mittleider gardening. And this is how we're doing it here, is by putting up the netting all the way around and controlling the temperature, which is the 2nd law of plant growth, with the shade cloth. This is LDS Prepper reminding you, if you are prepared and follow the 6 laws of plant growth, including temperature and controlling the competition, you're going to have a great harvest and you'll have no fear.